The deadbolt clicked at 11:47 p.m. on Christmas Eve. I was standing on my parents' front porch in 23-degree weather, holding a bag of groceries I'd just bought for Christmas morning breakfast. The breakfast I'd been assigned to make for 14 people. I'd gone to the 24-hour Kroger for heavy cream because my mother texted me at 11:15 p.m. while I was already in my pajamas in the guest room that we didn't have enough for the French toast casserole. Can you run out? You're the only one still awake. I went. When I came back, the porch light was off, the door was locked, and through the window I could see my coat hanging on the hook in the hallway, my phone charging on the kitchen counter, my keys in my purse, which was in the guest room. I knocked. Nothing. I knocked again harder. A light turned on upstairs, my brother's room. I saw the curtain move, then the light went off. I stood there for 4 minutes in a sweater and jeans holding a gallon of heavy cream while my family pretended not to hear me. At sunrise 6 hours later, they were all on that same porch. My mother was crying, my father was negotiating, my brother was making threats, and I was inside warm, holding a cup of coffee and a locksmith's receipt, watching them through the window the same way they'd watched me, because some doors once closed don't open the same way twice. I'm Lauren M31. If you're watching this, please subscribe to Echo of Justice Stories and let me know where you're watching from, because what happened in those 6 hours between being locked out and locked in changed everything. And my family is still trying to understand that the person they left in the cold isn't the same one who came back. We're from Millbrook, Connecticut, old money town, new money pretensions, the kind of place where Christmas isn't a holiday, it's a performance. My parents, Richard and Patricia Henley, live in a 4-bedroom colonial on Sycamore Ridge. White pillars, circular driveway, the kind of house that shows up in the background of town tourism brochures. My brother Derek is 3 years older than me, married to Svetlana, a woman whose name my mother pronounces with an accent she doesn't have. They have 2 children, Arya 5 and Bowden 3. Yes, Bowden, single, no kids. A grant writer for a nonprofit. I make $48,000 a year. Derek is a financial consultant. He makes $18,000 a year and never lets anyone forget it. Christmas at the Henley house has always been about Derek. I don't mean that metaphorically. I mean the holiday, the planning, the budget, the emotional energy, all of it orbits around my brother, his wife, and his children. It's been that way since Arya was born. Arya was 6 months old. My parents hosted Christmas Eve dinner. 22 people catered. I'd offered to help cook. My mother said, "No need, darling. We're keeping it simple this year." Simple meant a $3,200 catering bill and a rented chocolate fountain. I brought a homemade pie apple from scratch, my grandmother's recipe. My mother set it on the kitchen counter and served the catered desserts. At the end of the night, I found the pie in the refrigerator untouched with a sticky note. For leftovers, I took it home, ate 1 slice, threw the rest away. I'd been staying in the guest room on the 2nd floor since I was 16. It was my room when I visited. Everyone knew that year I arrived on Christmas Eve afternoon. My suitcase was in my car. My mother met me at the door. Small change. Lauren, we've given your room to Derek and Svetlana. The kids are in the nursery, and we thought they'd want to be close. Where am I sleeping? The basement guest room, it's all made up, very cozy. The basement guest room had a futon, a dehumidifier that ran constantly, and a small window at ground level where you could see people's feet walking by. I slept there for 3 nights. Derek's family slept in my room. When I mentioned it to my father, he said, "It's just easier this way, Lauren. The kids need routine." We took a family photo on Christmas morning. Professional photographer hired specifically for this. My mother coordinated outfits. She sent a group text in November with a Pinterest board, cream camel and forest green. No patterns. I bought a cream sweater, $78 at Nordstrom, which was more than I usually spent, but I wanted to match. When we gathered for the photo, my mother looked at me and frowned. "Lauren, that sweater washes you out. Don't you have anything else? You said cream. I meant cream for Svetlana. You should have worn green. I didn't have green." In the family photo, wearing the cream sweater, standing slightly behind Derek's position, so you can only see half my face. That photo is on my parents' holiday card. It was sent to 340 people. I am barely visible. This is when the breakfast tradition started. My mother decided that Christmas morning would include a casual family brunch before present opening. She assigned roles, Derek in charge of entertainment, meaning he played with his kids, while everyone else worked, Svetlana in charge of table setting, meaning she arranged pre-bought decorations, Dad in charge of drinks, meaning he opened a bottle of champagne, me in charge of cooking breakfast for 14 people. The menu: French toast casserole, bacon, fruit salad, fresh squeezed orange juice, and homemade cinnamon rolls. Prep time approximately 3 hours. I arrived at my parents' house at 5 a.m. Christmas morning. I cooked alone in the kitchen while everyone else slept at 9 a.m. My mother came downstairs in her robe, saw the table set and the food ready, and said, "Oh, lovely, this looks just like something from Pinterest." She posted a photo on Facebook, caption, "Blessed to have such a beautiful family, Christmas, 47 likes." She didn't tag me. I need to talk about the gifts because the gifts tell you everything. Under the tree that year, for Aria American Girl doll, $115 dollhouse, $240, art set, $60 dress-up costume trunk, $85. For Bowden electric car he could ride in, $320. Train table with accessories, $190. Personalized storybook, $45. For Derek leather weekend bag, $410. Scotch collection, $280. Noise canceling headphones, $350. For Svetlana cashmere scarf, $195. Spa day package, $400. Earrings, $150. For me candle, $28. Picture frame, $15. Book I had already read. Total for Derek's family approximately $28-$40. Total for me $43. When I opened the candle, vanilla bourbon from Target, my mother said, "I remembered you like candles." I don't particularly like candles, but I smiled. I said, "Thank you." I took the gifts home and put them in the closet next to the gifts from the previous 3 Christmases, all equally thoughtless, all under $50 combined. The pattern was clear. I wasn't a daughter, I was staff. I was the person who showed up early to cook, who slept in the basement, who stood in the back of photos, who received gifts that looked like they were bought in the checkout lane at Home Goods, and every year I told myself it was fine. Family is complicated, parents are older, they're tired, they're focused on the grandkids. I made excuses until I ran out of them. December 24th, 2023, I arrived at my parents' house at 4:00 p.m. My suitcase held 3 days' worth of clothes, the cream sweater I'd learned my lesson, and gifts I'd spent 2 months choosing carefully. For Aria, a book series she'd mentioned wanting $47 for Bowden building blocks, high-quality wooden $52 for my parents, a framed photo of the 4 of us from 1995, restored and professionally printed, $85 for Derek and Svetlana. Gourmet coffee subscription, 3 months, $60, total $244, nearly a week's paycheck. My mother met me at the door. "Oh, good, you're here. Can you take your things down to the basement? Derek's family is in the guest room again." Sure, the basement was colder than I remembered. The dehumidifier was louder. I unpacked, came upstairs, and found my mother in the kitchen with a list, "Tomorrow's breakfast," she said, handing it to me. I added Belgian waffles this year. Svetlana requested them. "The waffle maker is in the pantry." The list had 19 items, Mom. "This is a lot for one person. You've done it before." "You're so good at this," Lauren translation. "You're the only one I can ask to do this without complaint." Dinner was catered again. A seafood spread from a restaurant in town, $1,800. We ate at 6:30 p.m., 14 people around the dining table, my parents, Derek's family, my mother's sister and her husband, 2 family friends, and me. I sat at the end, the seat closest to the kitchen, so I could help bring things out. Conversation revolved around Aria's dance recital, Bowden's preschool, Derek's promotion, and Svetlana's new Peloton. At one point, my aunt asked me, "Lauren, are you seeing anyone?" "No." "Still well, you're focused on your career?" "That's admirable. I'm a grant writer. I don't have a career people admire. I have a job people forget to ask about." After dinner, we moved to the living room for gift exchange. Aria opened 17 presents, Bowden opened 14, I opened 4. One of them was from my mother, a fleece blanket, the same fleece blanket she'd given me. "Last year, different color." I held it up. "Thanks, Mom." "I know you're always cold in that basement room because you put me there." I thought I smiled. At 10:30 p.m., people started leaving. My aunt and uncle, the family friends all headed home. It was just us, my parents, Derek's family, and me. I was in the guest bathroom on the first floor when I heard them. Voices in the hallway. My mother and Derek. "We need to leave early tomorrow." Derek was saying Svetlana's parents want us there by noon. You're leaving on Christmas. Well, do presents here in the morning, then drive to Stamford. We'll be back for dinner. But Lauren's making breakfast. She can make it earlier. A pause. What time? 7, that's very early. Derek, Mom, Svetlana's parents bought the kids a trampoline. It's already set up. We promised we'd be there. Of course, I'll tell Lauren I came out of the bathroom. My mother jumped slightly. Oh, Lauren, I didn't know you were. I heard Derek's family needs to leave early tomorrow. Can you have breakfast ready by 7? I looked at my brother. He was on his phone, not even pretending to be part of the conversation. That means I'll need to start cooking at 4 a.m. You're always up early anyway, my mother said. On Christmas, it's just this once. It was never just once. Fine, I went down to the basement, set an alarm for 3:45 a.m., and lay on the futon staring at the ceiling. At 11:15 p.m., my mother texted, "Can you run to the store? We don't have enough heavy cream for the casserole." I sat up. It's 11:15 on Christmas Eve. I know, sweetie, but Kroger's open 24 hours. You're the only one still awake. I wasn't even awake. I was trying to sleep before my 3:45 a.m. alarm. I looked at the text for 30 seconds. Then I got dressed. The Kroger parking lot was almost empty. Just 2 other cars and a truck running idle near the entrance. I grabbed heavy cream, some extra butter, and a coffee for the drive back because I was already awake and furious, and caffeine felt like the only thing I could control. I got back to the house at 11:43 p.m. The porch light was off. I didn't think much of it. My arms were full. I balanced the grocery bag on my hip and tried the door. Locked. I knocked. Quiet at first because it was late. Nothing. I knocked louder. A light turned on upstairs, Derek's room, the guest room, my room. The curtain moved. I saw a face, Derek's face. He looked right at me, then the light went off. I knocked again, Derek. The doors locked. Nothing. I tried the side door locked. The back door locked. I came back to the front porch and pulled out my phone, except I didn't have my phone. It was charging in the kitchen. My keys were in my purse in the basement. My coat was on the hook in the hallway. I was locked out in 23-degree weather in a sweater and jeans, holding groceries my mother had sent me out to buy. I knocked for 5 more minutes. No one came. I sat down on the porch steps and did the math. It was nearly midnight on Christmas Eve. I had no phone, no keys, no coat. The neighbors' houses were dark. I didn't know any of them well enough to knock on their doors after midnight. I could walk to a gas station. There was one about a mile away, but I had no money. My wallet was in my purse. I looked at the front door and I understood this wasn't an accident. Derek had seen me. He'd turned off the light. They'd locked me out on purpose on Christmas Eve. Because I was in the way, I stood up, I took the groceries and walked. I walked for 20 minutes before I found it, a 24-hour diner off Route 7. The kind of place that smells like burnt coffee and has laminated menus with pictures on them. I went inside. The warmth hit me immediately. A waitress in her 50s looked up from behind the counter. "Rough night, you could say that. Sit anywhere, hun." I took a booth in the back, ordered coffee, sat there until my hands stopped shaking. The waitress came back with the pot. "You okay? My family locked me out," she poured on Christmas Eve. "Yeah." She set the pot down and sat across from me. "You got somewhere to go, not?" "Really? You got money?" I thought about the groceries I'd left on the porch steps. "No." She stood up, went to the register, came back with a $20 bill. "Merry Christmas." I stared at it. "I can't." "You can." "And you will. Now drink your coffee and figure out your next move." Her name was Denise. I found that out later when I came back to pay her back with a $100 tip. I sat in that booth for 2 hours. At 1:47 a.m., a man walked in, late 50s, wearing a work jacket with a patch that said Anderson Locksmith. I watched him order coffee to go, and I had an idea. I approached him at the counter. "Excuse me, are you working tonight?" He looked at me. Tired eyes, but kind. "Emergency calls only. Why I'm locked out of my house. Your house, my parents' house. I'm staying there for Christmas. They locked me out." He studied me. "They locked you out. On Christmas Eve." "Yes, that's messed up, I know." He sipped his coffee. "Where's the house?" "Sycamore Ridge." He whistled. "Fancy area. It's my parents' house, not mine. You want me to unlock it?" I thought about Derek's face in the window. The light going off. "No," I said. "I want you to change the locks." He set down his coffee. "Come again. I'm house-sitting for them. They left me in charge. I have every right to secure the property." This was a lie. But it was Christmas Eve, and I'd been locked out in freezing weather, and I was done playing by rules that only applied to me. You sure about this? Positive? He looked at me for a long moment. It's $450 emergency rate, cash or card. I pulled out Denise's 20. I have $20, he laughed. Not mean, just surprise, kid. I can't. Please, my voice cracked. I've spent every Christmas for the last 5 years cooking for them, sleeping in their basement, being invisible. Tonight they locked me out because I'm in the way. I need to do this. I'll pay you back. I swear. He was quiet. Then he pulled out his phone. What's the address? We arrived at the house at 2:30 a.m. Every light was off. The groceries were still on the porch steps, exactly where I'd left them. Anderson, his first name was Pete, got to work. He changed the deadbolt on the front door, the side door, and the back door. It took 47 minutes. The sound of the drill was loud in the December silence. I kept waiting for a light to turn on, for someone to come outside. No one did. When Pete finished, he handed me 3 new keys. You're all set. I don't have the money right now. He waved me off. Pay me after Christmas. I got a daughter about your age. If someone did this to her, I'd want someone to help. I took the keys. Thank you. Merry Christmas, kid. And hey, whatever happens when they wake up, remember you didn't start this. He left. I stood on the porch holding the new keys and unlocked the door. The house was silent, warm, untouched. I walked to the kitchen and plugged in my phone. 17 missed calls, all from my mother, all from the last 20 minutes. She'd woken up. She'd realized I didn't call back. I made coffee. I sat at the kitchen table and I waited. At 5:12 a.m. I heard it, car doors slamming, footsteps on the driveway, voices. My mother, I don't understand why the key isn't working. My father, let me try. The sound of a key scraping against a lock that no longer matched. Then knocking. Lauren, open the door. I took a sip of my coffee. More knocking. Lauren, this isn't funny. I walked to the front door, looked through the peephole. My entire family was on the porch. My mother in her coat over her nightgown. My father in his parka. Derek in a hoodie, Svetlana holding a sleeping Bowden area, standing between them. In her pajamas and winter boots, they looked cold. I opened the door, just enough to see them. The chain lock still on. Yes, my mother's face flooded with relief. Oh, thank God, Lauren let us in. The keys don't work. I know what I changed the locks. Silence. My father stepped forward. You what I changed the locks last night? After you locked me out. Silence. We didn't lock you out. Derek saw me. I watched him turn off the light. My mother's mouth opened. Closed. Derek's face went red. That's not I didn't. You did. Svetlana shifted Bowden to her other hip. This is insane. Let us in. It's freezing. You're right. It is freezing. It was freezing last night at midnight when I was locked out on this porch. That was an accident, my mother said. No, it wasn't. My father's voice got hard. Lauren, open this door right now. No, this is our house and am the one inside it. We stood like that for 11 seconds. Then headlights swept across the driveway. A car pulled up, a black sedan, official looking. A man got out. Suit briefcase, the 6 a.m. energy of someone who'd been called to work on Christmas. He walked up the driveway. Lauren Henley, yes, M. Marcus Webb, attorney for the estate of Judith Carolyn Brennan, my grandmother, my father's mother. Shed died 8 months ago. I apologize for the early hour. I've been trying to reach you. Your phone's been off. I am sorry. It's been a complicated night. He glanced at my family on the porch. I can see that May. I come in. I open the door. He stepped inside. My mother tried to follow. I closed the door. Lauren, she pounded on it. Let us in. I turned to Marcus Webb. What's this about? He set his briefcase on the entry table. Your grandmother left you. Something I've been trying to execute the will, but you've been difficult to reach. What did she leave me? He pulled out a folder, a property, a lake house in Vermont, and a trust, $24,000. The room tilted. What she specified in her will that you were to be notified privately. Not in the presence of other family members. She was quite insistent. Why, he looked uncomfortable. She left a letter and required to give it to you. He handed me an envelope through the door. My mother was still knocking. Lauren, please. I opened the letter. My dearest Lauren, if you're reading this, Marcus has found you. Good. Has persistent. Am leaving you the lake house. And the money because you're the only one who never asked me for anything. Your father and brother have always been takers. Your mother enables it, but you You just quietly kept showing up. You visited me every month, even when I forgot your name. You listened to my stories, even when I told them 3 times in one sitting. You never asked for money, for help, for anything. So I'm giving it to you now. The house is yours. The money is yours. Don't you dare share it with people who didn't see your worth. Merry Christmas, my darling girl. You were always my favorite, Grandma Judy. I read it twice. Marcus Webb cleared his throat. I have papers for you to sign, but given the current situation, perhaps we can reschedule? No. My voice was steady. Let's do it now. We sat at the kitchen table, the same table where I'd been assigned breakfast duty every year. I signed the papers. Marcus left. My family was still on the porch. I opened the door. Inside. Now they filed in, my mother immediately. What was that about? Grandma Judy left me her lake house and $24,000. The silence was profound. Derek spoke first. She what you heard me. My father's face was white. She left you that money. Yes. That was supposed to be split between who, Dad? You, Derek. She chose me. My mother sat down. This doesn't make sense. It makes perfect sense. I was the one who visited her, who cared about her, and she knew exactly how you all treat me. Derek stepped forward. You can't just change our locks and keep us out of our own house. This isn't about the locks, Derek. This is about you seeing me on that porch last night and turning off the light. His face went red. I didn't, you did, and Mom and Dad, you sent me out at 11:15 on Christmas Eve, and then went to bed without checking if I made it back. My mother's eyes filled. We thought you'd come in. You locked every door. We always lock the doors before bed. I was outside. My father stood. Enough. This is ridiculous. You're being dramatic. And there it was. The word they always used, dramatic. In being clear, I said, and here's what's going to happen. You're going to take your things and leave, all of you. This is our house, my mother said, and am the one with the keys. Well, call the police. Derek said, go ahead. I'll tell them you locked me out last night in freezing weather, and I had to pay a locksmith to secure the property. I'm sure they'll be very interested. No one moved, get out. They left all of them. Derek packed his family into their car and drove to Stamford. My parents went to a hotel. I spent Christmas morning alone in that house. I didn't make breakfast. I sat on the couch and watched the sun come up through the living room windows. At 9 a.m., my phone rang. My mother, I answered. What, can we talk? You have 5 minutes. I'm sorry. Her voice was small. I didn't realize we'd locked you out. Yes, you did. No, Mom, stop. You sent me out and went to bed. Derek saw me and turned off the light. Dad did nothing. You all chose to leave me out there. She was crying. What do you want from us? I want you to admit it. Just once admit that you treat Derek better, that you always have silence. It's not about better. She finally said, he has kids. He needs more support, and I need a mother who notices when I'm missing. I hung up. I didn't speak to them for 2 months. Derek sent an email in February, subject line, we need to talk. I deleted it. My father called in March, left a voicemail. We'd like to move past this. I didn't call back. My mother sent a card in April. We miss you. I sent it back, unopened. In May, I drove to Vermont and saw the lake house. It was perfect, small, quiet mine. I'm sitting there right now on the porch, watching the sun set over the water, and I'm thinking about that night on the porch, the locked door, the cold. Here is what I learned. Some people will lock you out and expect you to thank them for eventually letting you back in. Don't go back in. Build your own door. My family didn't forget to unlock the door. They chose not to, and when they realized I had something, they wanted warmth, access, inheritance, they came begging, but the person they locked out was the same person holding the keys. I'm not angry anymore. I'm free from waiting to be chosen, free from cooking breakfast at 4 a.m. for people who wouldn't knock on a door to let me in from the cold, free from pretending that being treated like staff is the same as being family. If you've ever been the one who was forgotten, overlooked, locked out, while everyone else was inside where it's warm, I need you to hear this. Change the locks. Not literally though, honestly, maybe literally, but change the way you let people access you. Stop showing up for people who wouldn't check if you made it home. Stop cooking for people who wouldn't feed you if you were hungry. Stop waiting on a porch for a door that's never going to open. Build your own house. I did, and it's quiet. And it's warm, and it's mine. I'm Lauren. I'm 31. My family locked me out on Christmas Eve at sunrise. They were begging at my door. I didn't open it, and I've never slept better. If your family has ever made you feel like you're asking for too much when you're just asking to be seen, tell me in the comments. I read every single one. And if you want to hear what happened when my brother asked to borrow money from my inheritance 6 months later, that story is coming. Hit subscribe to Echo of Justice Stories so you don't miss it. Check the description for another story about family boundaries and what happens when the overlooked one finally stops accepting crumbs. You're not dramatic, you're just done, and that's different.